Hi everybody. Today I want to talk about learning a very, very important life skill. And it's one that you will use throughout your life and you will use a lot throughout your 4-H career. And that is learning to write a meaningful thank you note. There are many times in our 4-H careers when we need to be able to show someone who has supported us how much we appreciate them. And so that might be a project leader or a club leader. It might be someone who supports you financially by purchasing your animal at the fair sale. It might be somebody who just gives you really good advice. And so the ability to write a thank you note that is going to convey your gratitude and appreciation to that person is really important. And it's a little bit of a lost art to actually have a handwritten note because we do so much communication electronically these days. So I've actually put together a little outline for you to help you determine what to put in your thank you note. Okay, so let me give you a couple of examples. Dear Mrs. Smith, thank you for helping me. Jill. Or, Dear Mrs. Smith, thank you for helping me with my dairy heifer. I learned so much about feeding and grooming her. I also learned to be responsible. My heifer has to be fed and cared for every day. Her name is Daisy, and she really likes to be brushed. I'm going to show her at the fair. I wouldn't have learned all of that without you. Thanks again, Jill Jones. Now, which one of those two notes would you like to receive? I know I would certainly prefer to receive the second one. So let's talk about how you need to put that note together. You're going to start with your greeting. Dear whomever is receiving it. Now, if it's somebody that you know well and you're very familiar with them and you usually call them by their first name, it's okay to put their first name in there. But if it's not, if it's somebody that you just know a little bit, you need to be sure that you address them properly with Mr., Mrs., Ms., or if it's a business name, you can just put the business name in there. So, Dear Mr. Smith. Then you want to follow that with a general thank you, just a statement that thanks them for their generosity, their support, their time, or their advice. Thank you for helping me with my 4-H project. Thank you for supporting me at the fair livestock sale. Or, thank you for being such an awesome club leader. Then you want to share something you learned and a little bit of a personal story about whatever it is you're thanking them for. So, for example, I learned how to properly feed and groom my animal this year. I also learned my heifer Bessie really likes it when I brush her. Or, I learned how to show my dog Bo this year. At first he wouldn't do what I said, but now he listens to me when I ask him to sit. And so that gives the person who's reading your note a little bit of insight into how you progressed through your project that year. Then you want to share some life skill that you gained, how you grew as a person, and a little bit about what 4-H means to you. So here are a couple of examples. I learned how to be responsible. My parents say I am ready to do chores on my own now. 4-H has helped prepare me for this. Or, I learned teamwork when showing my dog. It is our job to work together as a team. Now I am a better team member with other people too. And then finally, if it's a financial support situation, such as a buyer at your livestock sale, you want to tell them how you plan to use the money. If it's not financial support, then you might talk a little bit about what your future plans are for that project. So, for example, I plan to put the money from the sale into my college fund, or I'm going to invest in a female for my breeding herd, or I'm going to purchase my animal for my project next year. Or if it's not financial, you might say something like, I plan to keep this animal and exhibit it next year. Something like that. Then you're going to thank them again, just in a general way. Thank you again. I really appreciate your support. I really appreciate your generosity. And then you're going to have a closing. That's either sincerely, respectfully, yours truly, or maybe you just say, thanks again. And then you sign it with both your first and last name. If your first name is Bob and you just sign it, thank you, Bob, they may not know who Bob is. But if you say it's Bob Jones, then they're going to know exactly who it is. A couple of things to keep in mind. You want to make sure to check your spelling and use your very best grammar and punctuation. You want this to make a good impression. If you handwrite the note, and I encourage you to do that, make sure that your handwriting is neat and legible. And if you're mailing the note, make sure that you have the complete mailing address on the envelope. Also, if you have a chance to have a photo of you with the project, whatever that is, enclose a photo. That's always a nice personal touch as well. And you want to be sure that you write your thank you note as promptly as you can after the event is concluded. So for example, if it's the fair, you want to write your note as soon after the fair as you can. You want to do it while it's fresh on both your mind and the mind of the person who's receiving your note. And that's really all there is to writing a really meaningful thank you note. One that the person who is reading it will genuinely appreciate the time that it took you to prepare it.